Noah was reincarnated as a noble, but there was a major problem. Just one look at his status screen made that clear. It was nothing but pure disappointment. Born as the 13th prince of the imperial royal family, he quickly caught the emperor's attention. Upon learning that Noah's highest magic affinity was water, the emperor decided to gift him a thief near the water as a first birthday present. The moment he said that, Noah noticed something appear next to his E-rank water magic. The emperor then asked to see Noah's stat screen. Noah was a little worried. With a report card like that, he'd likely end up thrown in a dumpster. But miraculously, when his status screen was displayed, his water magic had changed from E to double S rank. Everything else was still a solid F, but who cared? A literal baby with the highest water magic stat any of them had ever seen was a clear indication of a genius water mage in the making. The emperor took an immediate liking to him. The reason his water magic appeared as SS rank was due to the thief granted to him at birth, though on his personal screen, it still showed as E plus S. Additional stat boosts came from his maids, and although he wasn't entirely sure why, it seemed the more servants he had, the stronger he became. His level was still only 1, but it could apparently be raised infinitely, so becoming overpowered was only a matter of time. For now, though, he was still pretty weak. One morning at breakfast, his maid Evelyn came to inform him that his brothers, specifically the 1st and 4th princes, had come to visit. Normally, that would be welcome news. But in his 6 years of life, Noah had learned that those two were massive jerks, so he had to tread carefully. He headed to the lounge to greet them. After formal pleasantries, the 1st prince, Albert, announced that he had brought Noah a gift and called for his servant to bring it in. The moment Noah saw the sword, it was immediately clear to him that it was cursed. He could literally see the tormented souls of the dead hovering around it, and Albert clearly knew. But he was playing dumb, and there was no way Noah could refuse a gift from the crown prince. Forced to accept it, he grabbed the handle and lifted it up as Albert casually explained that it was a water magic sword, and that over 120 knights had died trying to wield it. Noah's grip loosened instantly. The 4th prince reassured him, however, that everyone unworthy of the sword had died the moment they picked it up, so if the curse were going to affect him, he'd already be dead. His immunity was likely thanks to his double S water magic attribute. It was somewhat reassuring to know he wasn't in danger, but Noah was still furious that Albert had just risked his life for a pointless experiment. Not that he could say that out loud. He simply waited for Albert to leave so he could have some peace. Later that day, Noah was walking through the halls with his maid Zoe when he noticed she seemed unhappy. He asked what was wrong. She insisted she was fine, but Noah knew she wasn't and ordered her to tell him immediately. Zoe complied. She explained that her hometown had been hit by a flood, her mother's farm had been destroyed, and she had no means of rebuilding it. She had been advised that the only way to raise enough money was to work in the red light district during her time off, and that was exactly what she had intended to do. Noah refused to allow it. He told her he would give her mother a job instead. He had been meaning to hire a professional reargate closer, and since she came with a recommendation, he would pay her 10 renais a month. Zoe was taken aback. 10 renais was well above the standard salary, and she had never heard of a reargate closer position. But Noah had just made it up on the spot. It was his money, and no one was going to stop him. He also offered them use of an old house he owned on the outskirts of town, so they wouldn't need to worry about rent. Zoe had served him faithfully all his life. There was no way he'd let her sell herself because of a flood. Speaking of which, there was still one more thing to handle. He summoned his butler, Dylan, and ordered him to purchase as much of the flood-damaged land as possible. Both Dylan and Zoe were stunned, but Noah explained that con artists were bound to swoop in and take advantage of people who had just lost everything. He wanted to secure the land before that happened. Dylan was speechless. He couldn't believe a 6-year-old had thought so far ahead. Noah had seen this kind of thing in his past life, but he couldn't say that, so he moved on without explanation. Dylan was willing to help, but pointed out that by rough estimates, acquiring all that land would cost around 700,000 renais. Zoe was shocked. Even Noah acknowledged it was a small fortune. The average adult in the capital earned only 120 renais a year, enough for a family, a house, and decent food. His household was wealthier than most, but he only had around 500,000 renais available, meaning he needed to find another 200,000. With limited options, he decided to sell the thief he owned. Dylan immediately objected. It had been a gift from the emperor. and selling it without permission would be a crime against the imperial family. Noah was fully aware of that. He intended to do it anyway and was prepared to accept whatever punishment his father saw fit. The next day, as Noah and his retainers were preparing to depart for the flooded region, the fourth Prince Henry paid an unexpected visit. Unlike Albert, Henry was genuinely decent once you got to know him, and he had come to warn Noah that the sword had a will of its own. Even if Noah was immune to the curse, he would still need to earn the sword's recognition before he could wield it safely. Noah took the advice seriously, and shortly after, the group set off for the village of Tao. Upon arrival, calling it flood damage turned out to be a massive understatement. The place looked as though the land itself had been torn apart. Noah could tell that most homeowners had likely lost their documents in the flood, so he ordered Dylan to head to the government office and gather every copy he could find to make the land purchases smoother. In the meantime, Noah decided to go down personally and see how the villagers were holding up. Zoe objected. Reconnaissance wasn't a job for a prince, but Noah told her she could either come with him or wait in the carriage. She reluctantly came along. The situation was every bit as grim as it appeared. All the crops had been wiped out, meaning no harvest that year, and without a harvest, the villagers couldn't survive. Then a bell rang, and the villagers began gathering in what used to be the town square. Zoe assumed it was for food distribution, since the Empire provided disaster relief to flood-affected regions. Noah was glad the system appeared to be functioning, until he tasted the food and immediately took that back. It was miserable. Watery, flavorless broth made with what he strongly suspected were rotten vegetables. A nearby villager, not recognizing Noah as a prince, assumed he must be another flood victim. He told Noah that the food was always like this, and complaining did nothing because the people making it simply didn't care about things like health or food poisoning. Just then, a loud announcement signaled an inspection. Zoe informed Noah that the local government official, Lord Gerald, had arrived to inspect the food quality. Gerald took one look at the stew, thought it was revolting, and then ordered the chef to prepare him a proper meal back at the mansion. Noah wasn't about to let that slide. He confronted Gerald directly and asked whether the substandard food was being served because he was pocketing the rest of the budget for himself. Gerald, believing Noah was just another powerless peasant, openly admitted it, certain there was nothing the boy could do. Hearing Gerald brag about stealing from starving flood survivors made Noah's blood boil, so much so that the cursed sword began to react. Gerald had heard enough and drew his blade to cut Noah down. But before he could act, the Leviathan sword flew from its case and appeared at Noah's side. His will and sense of justice had been enough for the sword to finally acknowledge him. With its power now available to him, Noah effortlessly beheaded Gerald on the charges of embezzlement and threatening a royal prince. Shortly after, Lord Rowan, Gerald's superior, arrived, and the guards urged him to have Noah arrested for the killing. But the moment Rowan recognized him as the 13th prince, he dropped to his knee immediately. Noah told him they needed a long conversation about the situation there, a polite way of saying Rowan was in serious trouble for letting Gerald operate unchecked for so long. He noted that Gerald's accomplices were still present and expected Rowan to deal with them accordingly. In the meantime, he ordered that a proper meal be prepared for the villagers without delay. Later, after Noah had completed the purchase of the village, Albert received a report on everything that had transpired. He was surprised his brother had managed to wield the sword without suffering any drawbacks, but he was already thinking ahead to his next move. Meanwhile, Noah was summoned to meet with his father. He had fully expected a reprimand for selling imperial land without permission. Instead, the emperor thanked him. Had Noah not acted when he did, the damage to those people would have been far worse. The emperor told him plainly that he saw a capable young man before him and asked him to continue serving the empire with everything he had. Noah agreed without hesitation. Sometime later, Noah visited the city of Mears. Her father apparently owed them a significant sum of money, which was why she had been working as a singer to pay it back. The thugs, however, didn't believe she'd ever earn enough that way and threatened to force her into the red light district. Everyone in the theater witnessed it, but no one dared to intervene. So Noah stepped up. He walked onto Spence's were. She hesitated, admitting that caring for her sick mother cost quite a bit. Noah told her he was willing to pay her 25 Renee so she could focus entirely on her singing without worrying about money, and she didn't need to pay him back. For now, he simply asked her to finish her performance. Upon returning home, Noah was greeted by his headmaid. It was good to be back, except for the crowd of people bowing outside the gate. The maid explained that they were the loan sharks from earlier, there to apologize, claiming they hadn't realized he was a prince. Noah arrived, having heard everything. He told Noah it was the right call. Granting an audience to people like that would reflect poorly on the royal family. Noah agreed, but clarified that reputation wasn't actually his reason. He explained that by letting the thugs believe he was still furious, they'd be too afraid to go anywhere near the singer again. Henry was genuinely surprised. Henry's actual reason for visiting was to discuss the sword. Noah took the moment to thank him for his warning about it having a will of its own. It had made a real difference. Henry was glad to hear it, but wondered how Noah managed to carry something so large and unwieldy at his age. Noah simply demonstrated, making the sword appear out of nowhere. Henry was stunned. Noah's sleeve. The sword had been a national treasure for centuries, and no one had ever done anything remotely like that with it. Henry took it as yet another sign of Noah's natural talent. Later that evening, as Noah escorted Henry to the front gate, he noticed the thugs were still there, begging for forgiveness. He paid them no attention. One of them, growing frustrated by being ignored, stood up and threatened to kill him. Noah knocked him back down without so much as moving a muscle. Henry asked what he had just done. Noah explained that he had released a small amount of Leviathan's power, which, Henry noted, required an extraordinary level of control. By that point, Henry had welcomed upon arrival by the host, Rayok. As they entered the banquet hall, Rayok noticed the sword at Noah's waist and asked about it. Noah explained it was a gift from his brother, the great sword, Leviathan. The room fell silent as everyone registered that a child was in possession of a national treasure. One man in the back openly suggested it was probably a replica toy. Noah wasn't about to let that go. He released a fraction of the sword's power to prove it was the real thing, though he took it slightly too far, nearly causing everyone present to faint from the sheer energy radiating off it. He reeled it back in, and the shaken room gradually recovered. Everyone else fell in line, not wanting to test his patience. In truth, Noah hadn't been particularly angry, but the sword had been, and it had acted accordingly. When Rock asked what Noah intended to do about the man who had disrespected him, Noah simply let it go. It wasn't worth the trouble, and the party continued as planned. The nobles approached one by one to introduce themselves. Among them was Byron Allen, head of the Allen Company, accompanied by his daughter Cindy. After a single glance, Noah remarked that Cindy must be adopted. Byron was taken aback, but Noah was right. He asked how Noah could have known. Noah explained that Byron carried himself with the natural composure of someone to be finding her footing, and the way she reacted when he said adopted told him she had once been a slave. Byron apologized for not clarifying sooner. He confirmed that he had originally purchased Cindy as a slave, but seeing how smart and capable she was, he decided it made more sense to raise her as his daughter and eventual heir. He assumed Noah would disapprove. On the contrary, Noah greatly approved. He told Byron that he and Cindy were welcome at his mansion any time. The next day, Noah headed out to browse the market. While there, he ran into his brother, the 8th prince, creased the moment he touched it. But thinking about it further, if the book boosted stats, it likely had a consciousness of its own, similar to his sword. To test the theory, just then, a local shop owner named Allen approached them with a proposition. He had an artifact he hadn't been able to activate for some time, and after witnessing Noah's display of strength, he thought Noah might be able to awaken it. He asked the owner to stop admitting customers like that. The owner acknowledged the problem but said those were the only customers keeping the business afloat. In that case, Noah simply offered to buy the place outright and handed over a substantial sum. The singer came over to thank him, unsure of how she could ever repay him. Noah told her there was nothing to repay.